Welcome to Monday Day Drinking with Raf. I mean, weekly navel-gazing, right? Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing the weekly navel-gazing thing where I talk about all the books I read last week and all the videos I made last week and what I plan to do this week and all of that stuff, right? Let's get started. I did read some books, which is good, right? So I did, in fact, reread The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi and The Pirates by George MacDonald Fraser for videos. And I did read, by the time this is up, I will have finished it, Burning Girls and Other Stories by Veronica Chanos. And it's a really, really good collection of short stories and fairy tale retellings that I highly recommend, not only because it has a story called Emma Goldman Takes Tea with Baba Yaga, but also because of that. It's a really good story, collection of stories, and I highly recommend it. I also did read, Fight Like Hell, The Untold History of American Labor by Kim Kelly. It's really good. I highly recommend it. If you are interested in, a more diverse history of American labor struggles. Really good book. And I did finish reading The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon, which I also highly recommend. It's a classic for a reason. It's also a very angry and very powerful book, so good stuff there. I did read The Incorruptibles by Dan Slater, which is about the attempt of fighting crime in 1910s and 1920s, but mostly 1910s New York. It's not as good as I wanted it to be. It has a lot of problems in the way that it shifts focus, but it might be worthwhile talking about that at some point. It was a bit of a companion, I guess, to Machine Made, the history of Tammany Hall and the making of modern America in a lot of ways, which I think I mentioned last week. I'm kind of confused there, but that's another one that I read if I didn't mention it anywhere else. So, these are my readings at the moment. What am I planning to read, you may ask? Well, I don't know. Books, I guess. I am currently, I've already started, the introduction, that is, of The Devil is Here in These Hills, West Virginia's Miners and Their Fight for Freedom, which is, another book about labor struggles in the US. I am going to read it this week, I'm pretty sure. And then there are a bunch of books coming out this week that I am very much interested in. To wit, Oliver Cromwell, Commander-in-Chief, which is part 2 of the Oliver Cromwell biography by Ronald Hutton, and I'm certainly going to get to that. It's, Oliver Cromwell is a really interesting character, so, why not talk about him, right? Or at least why not read the motherfucker? Anyway, good book, I'm sure of it. Then there is a book coming out tomorrow that is called Summer of Fire and Blood, a history of the German Peasants' War. Yeah, I want to read that one, definitely. And it's going to happen, and I am very excited. And there is another one, it's an older one that finally got an audiobook, also coming out tomorrow, and that is, of course, Blood and Mistletoe, a history of the Druids, also by Ronald Hutton. Yes, history books sure have come a long way when it comes to titles these days, and Fire and Blood is certainly... Summer of Fire and Blood sounds really good, right? So those are books that I plan on reading during the next couple of days. I'm sure I have other books that I might get interested in. We will have to wait and see what grabs my fancy. There is a good chance I might also reread maybe Revenger by Alistair Reynolds because, pirate stuff. We'll talk about that in a moment. But if you have recommendations for pirate books that are not... And I have to say this again, that are not Pirate Latitudes by Michael Crichton, let me know in the comments, and I might just get to one of those. So, let's talk about videos, shall we? I did indeed make videos, which is surprising, right? I know. No, I did make a video for The Pirates by George MacDonald Fraser, and I did make another video for The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty, and both of those are up as part of Pirate Winter 2025. Which, I'm happy that both of those are out. If you have watched them, thanks for watching. If you have commented, thanks for commenting. I do really appreciate that. And those were the videos. I did some live streaming spontaneously on Saturday. I enjoyed that, although it got a bit darker, what with, politics being the way they are these days. I still very much enjoyed it, and I hope some of you at least had some fun, or at least, got some distractions from the world out there, which I think is important to have. So that was good. I also did my wonderful breakfast sprints every day, and they continue. I did one this morning already. So that's a lot of videos. I mean, not that much of videos, but it's certainly some productivity last week. Will this continue, you may ask? You may ask, and I maybe have no answer whatsoever. Because, yeah, I need to figure out what to talk about next when it comes to videos. As I said, may continue making pirate videos with, say, Revenger or anything else if you have something you want to recommend, because I had surgery, I had my tooth removed, but obviously it still takes a while for a new one to show up, so I still am very much qualified to make pirate videos, so that is something that may happen depending on, what comes up, what I pick to talk about. I also definitely want to, move away from just the pirate stuff and talk about other things again. It's been easy to kind of avoid that recently, but I want to go back and talk about some books I read recently that I think are interesting. And that's kind of where I am somewhat lost for an idea right now. Maybe that's also just like me being somewhat exhausted, right? There's certainly a level of like mental exhaustion at the moment going on with, the world being the world, and me sort of trying to not do certain things or stay away from, say, the Mormonism videos and so forth. That has led to me being somewhat at a loss when it comes to picking out what to do next. And that's certainly, where we are right now. But if you have suggestions, let me know in the comments. No, I don't do lists. No lists, anything else, let me know what you want me to do. I might be interested in picking one of those ideas. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. I will obviously continue making these sprints in the morning. I do really enjoy them. And yeah, that's kind of where we are at the moment, channel-wise, in a lot of ways. I feel like, I've said this before already, but I wanted to do the Mormonism project and the Sanderstorm as soon as possible, and then, the whole tooth situation came, and that has sort of like pushed me on that sideline in a lot of ways, where I'm doing the pirate videos, and I do enjoy them, right? Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't help, because that whole Sanderson Mormonism thing is still one of those albatrosses, albatrosi, who knows, around my neck, and I'd rather get rid of it sooner rather than later, and yeah, we'll see if I manage to do that in one way or another. Once again, the problem is, of course, having all these things that sort of like are outside of my control. I did have the tooth removed, and it was completely painless, so all good. And I know it's rare to say that, I had a very good experience with my my dentist there. That was pretty fucking good. 45 minutes from stepping into their office to stepping out again, one tooth less. Pretty good. But I have to go back on Friday to have the stitches removed. And after that, I can talk to my dentist, and then we'll see about whether to put like an implant in there or put like a bridge over it. Both of those are far beyond anything I can afford. So there is still the question of me figuring out how to pay for a new tooth. But, but all of this means that I don't have like a concrete date when I less piratey in my appearance in a lot of ways, and that lack of action, or the having all of these things sort of outside of my control, is not exactly helping me with anything, and that's something that I've always struggled with. Things that are outside of my control. There's stuff that I don't necessarily mention here on the channel because it's more like personal stuff. And it's not necessarily a place that is conducive to me having good ideas and being able to actually pull them off. And it's easy to sort of like fall into these kind of patterns where you leave everything up. And like, well, I guess I have to wait for thing X to happen before I can actually get off my ass and do all the other things. And then thing X obviously moves further away and away and away and away, and that's not good. And I think one thing that I want to try and get maybe a bit of a grip on in the next couple of days is the thing that I've avoided forever, which is clean up my room, right? I've seen it as an act of active resistance against Jordan Peterson to not clean my room, but it obviously also makes the room an absolute fucking mess. And maybe doing that, and maybe sort of just like airing out the rooms that I live in, cleaning up the desk, taking away piles and piles of CDs and all of that stuff. Like, maybe that will sort of like give me the illusion of activity or the illusion of agency in a way, and that will help, because in a lot of ways, going to the gym is one of the things that did help with that for the last couple of months, right? I do my sprints, I go to the gym, I do all of these things. They allow me to sort of blow off steam and all of that. The problem is, of course, if you do that every day, like I do, it leads to a point where it's become part of your routine, and it does. Obviously, it's still healthy. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm happy I'm doing it usually, but it does obviously at the same time sort of the effect of an individual moment at, say, the gym, of an individual workout for like the mental part of it, but not the physical part, right? Like, that kind of that effect is slowly growing smaller and smaller and smaller, and I can sort of see myself lacking, or struggling with that in the last couple of days, or last week in particular, and I still need to figure out what to do about that. It's it's frustrating, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe reading all of these nonfiction books is something I could do there. I was thinking about maybe making up a couple of videos about these nonfiction books, trying to sort of connect them. Obviously, a lot of them are focusing on similar situations, right? Mostly New York history of the 19th and early 20th century, labor history, that kind of stuff. And there's intersections and there's contradictions and so forth. And I thought maybe it would be interesting to make a series of videos about each of these books and try to sort of connect them to each other, explain, show how where those books contradict each other, how a certain focus on one event kind of leaves other events out and kind of changes the narrative. That's something, obviously, that if you have ever studied history, you kind of know that that's how, historiography works. You kind of know that's how nonfiction works. But I think it might be interesting because while we sort of often sort of understand that nonfiction is still, a form of narrative, it's often easy to ignore that and go, well, it says non-fiction, so I have to trust this, right? And it's like, yeah, maybe you don't have to fully trust it, or be careful about what you believe here or what you don't believe. And it might be interesting to take a bunch of books that I'm reading anyway for all these, like, all the wrong reasons, or maybe right reasons, who knows, and do that sort of in a way. Maybe that can help other people with reading books and understanding books, understanding books, I can't help you with that, but like maybe making it easier or more rewarding to read a book, because it may, point out certain ways of reading a book or things to pay attention to that will then enhance, the enjoyment, understanding, and all of that of a specific book. That might be something. I don't know. If you have opinions on that, put it down in the comments. That would be really cool. I will certainly read that. Don't worry. I promise. So yeah, that's very much sort of like where I am at the moment. I might also get sick. I feel like I may have a bit of a cold coming up. I spent a lot of time yesterday outside on a protest against the current political events in Germany, which are, also happening all the way, while everyone is looking to the US. Germany is also, getting close to elections in 2 weeks, and they are certainly very important elections, and there's stuff happening here as well. I don't know if you are even interested in me explaining what's going on in German politics at the moment. Google Analytics or YouTube Analytics tell me that most of you are not German, in fact. Most of you watching this are not German. 0.3% of my views come from Germany, so maybe you just don't care. Let me know. If you want me to do a quick introduction or to like German elections in 2025 or something like that, I could do that. But that's something I've obviously been struggling with recently, or not struggling with, because wrestling with, I think that sounds better, right? Is that this is a book channel, right? I've always been a very political person. I've seen other people on booktube become more political with recent events and so forth, and I think that's inevitable. But it's still very much a channel that started out with me talking about books. And yes, sometimes, there's stuff in there that's me talking about mental health or living with a disability and all of that stuff. And sometimes it kind of becomes more explicitly political, like the question of, like, escapism for, reactionary people, or, well, Nazis, as I said in that video way back. But there's always been a bit of a connection to books, and I try to do that. But what with like recent live streams, I've seen stuff getting more explicitly about politics and less about books. And what's always happening in these situations, right, is that a shift in theme, a shift in topic, a shift in content will automatically lose some people. And I can totally see people that signed up to this for Malazan content all the way back are already annoyed by all the non-Malazan content and might get even more annoyed by not even books not being front and center in what I talk about, and I don't know what to do about that. And if you are someone who has been frustrated by recent live streams or videos being too explicitly political, I would love to hear from you. First of all, if it's because you think I'm too far left, to the left, then I can't help you, because that's not going to change. But like when it comes to how to combine sort of like the cultural analysis, media analysis, whatever you want to call this, like book reviews, literary analysis, combining that with politics is an ongoing sort of like something that is continuously negotiated, right? That's the point here. Like we constantly have to negotiate between these different aspects of life, because while everything is political, it doesn't mean that it's party politics front and center or anything of the sort. So I'm as I said, I'm at a loss for words here. I don't know what to do. I might, if enough people are interested, I might just do like one of those like quick introductions to, hey, this is why Germany is also pretty fucked right now, kind of video. I could do that. I think I would argue that I have enough sort of like general knowledge of like German party politics and all of that to do that. But I don't want to, just force everyone to watch that. So I don't know. Let me know what you think about all of that in the comments, because if you go like, well, now he's doing just politics, I guess I'll just unsubscribe, then that would be frustrating to me, because it's not exactly like this is a channel that's exploding in size all the time, is it? So yeah, we'll see. I don't know what else to say. It's just a thing. It's been a weird week. I suspect the next 2 weeks at least will also be pretty weird. So I guess let me know what I can do to make your life a bit more entertaining, a bit more rewarding, whatever, by providing videos. And if there's something you want me to do, let me know. Write me an email, write a comment, hit me up on Discord or whatever, Blue Sky, and I'll do my best. And if there's anything else, also let me know. I do really, really appreciate you hanging out with me in live streams, watching my videos, commenting on videos. I do very much appreciate all of that. And thank you very much for that. The usual stuff. Like, subscribe, share the video if you feel like it. I don't know. Join the Patreon or join the YouTube channel or whatever, right? If you feel like it. If you feel you can spare the money. I have a tooth to pay, right? Anyway. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you about something very soon. And until then, well, thanks and cheers.